Unleashed, and we have Emily Nelson and Debbie Arce, they got it right? Carr.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. So tell us about Talent Unleashed.
Well, we're actually running into our 20th season with a group called Vessels of Gold.
That's 20 years.
20 years. Yes. We started in 2001, about a week before 9/11 hit. And a couple of years into that, Emily joined our Vessels of Gold group. She was 7 at the time. And so
Tommy, we now know how old she is.
Uh-oh.
We finally figured it out.
Oh, I did it. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, you don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But anyway, she joined, and we were just kind of vagabonds. We were doing this musical theater group. I just started it. I have a background in music ed. And I started it because I wanted my kids to have the ensemble experience, the musical theater experience. And so we would meet wherever we could, somebody's house and a church. And we did that until 2013. And then we were able to get a studio space in Kendall. And that's really where Talents Unleashed was born. Vessels of Gold is the group that's been around for 20 years.
So Debbie, back when you first started, you decided you want your kids to have this experience. And when you would train, where would you train your practice?
Every year it was a different place. Sometimes we were in somebody's house, backyards, pool decks, churches.
And so that would be during the 12-month period. You would have a season, and that's when you would practice and
we
train.
pretty much did the whole school season. We would start in September, and then we would perform in the spring, like April or May.
And what was the age group then as compared to now?
Back then, when we started, we went from like ages 7 to 18.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you joined up, Emily, back then.
Yes.
So
as soon as I could.
so what is it like 20 years in this very creative field working with the same person?
It's
Careful
like
how you say it.
Tell us a great story anyway.
It's like developing a best friend that confuses you. So it's fantastic to be able to go into work every day and know exactly who you'll be working with, and the fact that they'll have your back no matter what.
So here you are with, in some cases, some very young children that are doing this. So what is it like, Debbie, when you have these young folks and you're trying to help them express themselves and become confident, and in some cases become leaders at a very young age? So what is that like?
It's wonderful. I mean, I love what I do. I love being there every day. We get calls all the time from parents. Sometimes it's like, oh, my child loves music and dancing, and they want the outlet. And so then you're helping structure that, and, giving them some parameters and some guidelines. And sometimes they call and they say, well, I think my child might love it, but they're very, very shy, and I don't know how they're going to do. And that's really cool, because we've really never, I don't think, I could be wrong, but it doesn't come to mind any time that we've really had a child that just couldn't or wouldn't. It's like, great, let us have them, because as they get around the other kids and we make it real easy, we have this small black box theater. And so it's just a couple little steps up onto the stage.
What does that mean?
Well, we painted the walls black.
And the ceiling.
Basically, it's usually a very small, intimate type of theater. And
so what size is that? A bedroom size, twice a bedroom size, 3 times?
Oh, I wish my husband were here.
Probably
I think it's
about a generous sized living room.
Okay.
I want to say about 800 square feet. I'm sure he's at home right now yelling it, but okay. I don't know. I think it's.
You'll get a text.
Pre-COVID, we could take 40 to 45 people in the audience.
Okay. Okay. So Emily, so what was it like? Age 7, you're over there, right? And you're starting to dance, right? So what was that like? And as you look back over these last 2 decades, looking back, what was that experience like?
It was wonderful. I was always a really, really shy child. I didn't like to talk out loud. I did not like to sing. I didn't like to dance. Basically, if somebody was looking at me, I wanted to cry. And the wonderful thing that Talents Unleashed consistently does is we see talent, however small it is, and however passionate it is, and we grow it as much as we can by pushing in a gentle and consistent way. And so Debbie was very good at consistently pushing me to just go that extra step and do the thing that I was scared of.
So, Emily, when we're young like that, lots of times, yes, we have our parents, but we're really looking perhaps for somebody else that's not there, that relationship is a little bit different, that they can be a little bit freer, and where the teacher, the mentor, can push a little bit different, where there's not the manipulation that happens between parents, not in a bad way, and kids. So when you were being pushed, what was that like?
Terrifying. It was
her favorite answer is
terrifying.
no. Her first answer to everything was no.
Mm-hmm. Always. I always said no. I still have a tendency of saying no. But it's a terrifying process, and little by little, as you watch yourself get stronger, you just realize, oh, well, maybe that wasn't just such a terrible idea.
So in one season, can you see the growth with your students?
Absolutely.
It's like, as I'm looking over Debbie, yeah, of course. All right. It's sort of what I'm getting from you. Yeah. They start off a certain way, and then you look at the advance. So you're really changing lives, not just getting singers and dancers. All right. You're helping these kids become much more fully functional.
I think one of the most important things that makes us different is that we're not out to make performers. We're not, we go through an audition process, and we do have a couple of groups where you have to audition, and we've got more kids wanting to be in than we can allow in. But basically, we want everyone to have the performing arts experience, and everyone can learn something, and everyone can contribute something. I was just telling her out in the lobby, I found out yesterday, a piano student of mine loves sign language. It's her passion. So I said, well, why don't you teach a sign language class? That's the kind of thing that happens all the time. And she's like, oh, I would love to. Great. Let's set it up. Mm-hmm. Offer it, teach something, share what you know.
That's a great way to kind of open up into what Talents Unleashed started as, which is Vessels of Gold, and gold stands for growth opportunities for learning and development. And that is our mission.
So let's talk about, so you're training, you're teaching little people, and you have some big little people as well. So what's that age group that you now have?
I think we're now I think our youngest student is like 4 or 5, maybe
5. I think we're about 5 to 80. Mm-hmm. We have groups for all ages.
Again, 5 years old to
80. But
80 what?
Years old.
80 years. Yeah, but there's no
months.
ceiling at 80. I don't really know what the top age is in one of our groups, and I don't want to.
I think on our website it says up to age 99. Somebody said, well, what if a 100-year-old wants to join? So we'll take them.
So, and what are some of the things that these students learn in there? Explain to whether it's a recital or a particular creative dance, and where do these ideas come from as far as the dancing?
So I think in general, all of our performing groups, which is the bulk of our studio, they are geared towards learning the skills that make dance and singing and speaking really valuable. So learning how to project their voice, which helps with public speaking. We've had people come back and tell us that public speaking is so much easier now that they've learned how to speak and how to act, and that it just makes their lives easier. Learning left from right with your feet is
the other left.
very,
we say that a lot.
The other one.
You brought up about public speaking. I remember taking a public speaking class, the Dale Carnegie class, and one of the things that the instructor would do is they say, I want you to prepare a 20-minute emotional speech for next week. And I'm thinking there are 40 people in the class. That ain't going to happen. I said, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'll be ready. And what they did is, okay, come on up. And when you cross this imaginary line, I want you to know there's one you could do and the one you should do. And then the instructor would go to the other end of the room, because almost everybody was crying like a baby when they went to the other end of the room, and she'd be Shay Gomez. All right, congratulations. Remember 25 years ago. And she'd go like this, And then if you got too emotional, she would move straight on, maybe like 20 feet back, but you wouldn't to be able to look over it and to speak your piece and to be able to communicate. And you communicate very well. I'm sure you're 20 years there yelling at the kids. I mean, helping them. Right?
We don't yell. We just speak
No.
loudly sometimes
Because
because they're so
projecting. I'm just always
enthusiastic, and sometimes
projecting.
we need to get their attention.
so where do you, who choreographs these?
So this is a strange question. So Debbie was the one who did everything when we started. I was far too young to do anything. And so it was all whoever was available. Sometimes she would take us to dance lessons and there would be a dance teacher that would choreograph a number for us. But for the most part, there wasn't a lot of dancing. And then as I got older and more into musical theater, then I would kind of watch different videos and performances of songs that we were doing and go like, oh, we could probably do that. And maybe we could do that. And in the middle, we'll just jazz hands. And
So
that's
people,
kind of how it evolved.
you know, it's amazing when you look at this, the brain power that goes into that, the confidence and the personality. So Talent Unleashed, where did you get this name? And it's been the same name for all these
That's
years?
definitely a you question.
I'm not. I want to defer that to my husband. I'm not sure. I don't remember the genesis of that. We didn't come up with that until 2013 because it started out Vessels of Gold, which was chosen by the kids. They voted on a name for their group. Then Growth Opportunities for Learning and Development, which is our nonprofit branch, didn't develop until 2006 because I'm not a business person. And so everything we've done is backwards and kind of unplanned and very ad hoc. You know, we figure it out as we go. There was no grand plan. So Talents Unleashed, honestly, I don't
I
know.
think it was probably some mom who had years of experience and lots of her children came through our doors that probably said something about how we were
I
unleashing
apologize
talents
if I'm
and-
not giving credit to someone. I just
No,
honestly
it was
don't
probably
know.
something about unleashing talents. And we
So-
were like, that was a great name.
And how many students, without regard to the age, might be in any given group, seminar, class that you're having, more or less?
Like total number of students that we would have in a year.
No.
No, in
any
a
class.
Oh,
Group.
in a group,
In a group.
I think less than 20.
Yeah.
They're very small classes.
We had the Vessels of Gold group last year was 20.
Mhm.
And that was pretty max.
Unprecedented.
Yeah, that was really max.
And so, and when you're looking at the kids, you realize that some have a lot of talent, I assume.
Mhm.
So what's that like? You go and you look over and you go, Debbie, look at that one over there. Johnny over there with the orange shirt. Look at it. Let's watch it.
It's a little terrifying because we usually spot it at the exact same moment and we'll look over and just go. So that's always cool that we have that relationship and that we have the same base there. But I would say that we usually take that moment that we find at least once a year and we try and push them a little further and say, okay, well, do you want to teach something? Do you want to choreograph something yourself? We had a kid one year write his own song that we used in our show. So
when you look at the group of people and there's one student that you realize is not quite coming along, but may just need that pat on the back, that needs some encouragement. How do you do that?
I think a lot of times it's the other students. Somehow we've been gifted with an amazing community and all the groups kind of take care of each other and the members within take care of each other.
So, and speaking groups, years ago, I used to be a runner and I was running a race in University of Miami and it was the Halloween time. So I'm running along, I wind up passing a woman that's much faster than me. And I said, no, I'm not any faster. I mean, I knew who she was. So I slowed down and I go, hey, what's going on? And she said, well, Michael, next week I'm doing the New York Marathon. So that was 30 years ago. And she said to me right then, you know, you could do it if you wanted to.
Wow.
And a year and a week later, I did. So I still get goosebumps that all it needed was somebody to reaffirm what was ever going on in the back. That sometimes it's just that pat on the back to be able to do that. You have a student in mind, somebody that you've helped, that you saw that blossom. We don't need their name, right?
Yes.
So what is
Many
that
come
like?
to mind.
So what is that? What is that like?
It's wonderful. I mean, it's definitely very rewarding to know that even though I love what I do and it's a passion of mine, there are days that you just don't want to go in and deal with teenagers who don't want to listen, or little kids who are too rambunctious, and being able to have those moments where it's like, oh, I really impacted your life, or we did, or we're offering a wonderful space for these kids is very rewarding, and it makes you want to go back.
Yesterday, we had the president of the Homestead campus of Miami-Dade. We've had most of the campuses when the presidents come in, and when you see that people are committed to young people and trying to help them, it's really rewarding, and it's our pleasure to be able to bring that and allow that to be expressive. So, and what's the gender breakdown in your classes on average?
Oh, we're terrible on demographics.
It's usually pretty even.
Pretty even. I mean, slightly more girls probably, but
whenever you bring singing or dancing into the mix, then guys tend to back off. But we've found that a lot more are kind of like telling their friends, it's not so terrible. It's actually pretty fun.
Well, especially when they see someone else, you know.
Probably, yeah, okay. Maybe a 60-40.
Should we tell them it's a good place to meet girls?
That's it. That works. It also helps because they see, like, Vessels of Gold is the one that goes out the most into the community and performs. So here you've got these guys up there who are athletic and they're good looking and they can sing and they can act. And it's like, oh, well, that's not so bad. You know, it's not like, you know, something that they would really be averse to, other than saying, oh, well, I can't sing or something. But we don't really accept the I can't sing answer.
Anyone can.
Yeah, Tommy and I tried it here once. I don't think we did too well. So let's look at post-COVID, whenever that is, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. What does that look like for Talent Unleashed?
I hope it looks like it did before, except bigger and reaching more people. And, you know, we love to go out into the community. We love to share what we're doing. You know, at the moment right now, we have a group called Gold Miners, which is, they're all learning. I think I'm learning more than them, but we are trying to learn together marketing and social media and that kind of thing. So the point is, they're putting a lot of past shows and performances onto YouTube. So we're hoping that that's a way that we can continue to say, hey, we have things to offer, so that post-COVID, when the doors open up more, you know, people will say, hey, you know, you do have something to offer. I've been watching what you're doing on YouTube.
And
hopefully
that's essential, is to be able to share with what you have with other people. So Emily, what does post-COVID Talent Unleashed look like to you?
More of a relief. I think right now there's a lot of hesitance to join or be part of the community of the arts, because of, you know, wearing a mask makes things harder, distancing makes things harder. And so I can't wait for the joy that everyone is going to feel, and just how happy we will all be when we finally get to.
So Debbie, what did you learn in the last year?
I learned probably a lot of things, but I learned how very special it is to be around people. I think I've learned from the kids in discussions and having them around, you know, doing something like we do, participating in the performing arts is really kind of therapeutic. You know, it's a moment when you can put aside whatever else is worrying you or bothering you, you know, if your pipes broke, or that wasn't any real thing, but no, that was her weekend. But, you know, whatever is going on, you can come in and you can kind of forget all that. You can sing and dance and be around people. And that, how special that is, I think I understand now in a way that I didn't before. Because when something is kind of taken away from you, then you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize how important it was. And some of these kids, they come back in and it's like, they really need to be there. You know, we need to be there, but they, you know, it's more than just, oh, I get to go sing. It's like, this is an important part of life and connecting with people. And I appreciate that now more.
Yes, and you're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Very feeling.
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
She says, yeah, a little bit. So Emily, what about you in your young age here? What did you learn in the last, at this point, almost 12 months?
A very difficult question. I definitely learned, I mean, the same thing as Debbie, but I can't use her answer now.
So I get to go first. You can think better than me.
I don't know. I think that learning how much those kids mean to me was a big deal, because being able to be back with them was so exciting. And even though, we tried as much as we could to continue over Zoom for the time that we were completely locked down in our homes, it just wasn't the same as seeing their faces. And I'm famous for kind of making strange noises and being dramatic.
So let's say that there was a bell that said, okay, it's safe to go outside. All right. At some point, people are going to get that. So let's say there you are in the front of your building over there, and the kids all arrive about the same time. Debbie, what does that look and feel like to you?
Oh, little taste of heaven. I mean, that's glorious. That's,
my first thought was that we only have one bathroom.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. Okay.
Like in a wonderful way.
Well, when one is passionate about what they do, that the people around you feel that from you. And that's why your students are so willing to listen to you and so willing to make that extra step, and that you push them because you believe that they can, or that you can help them with that confidence to be able to do that. So, Debbie, when in your life, I'm sure there have been people that have made a significant difference to you. Would you like to tell us about one of those experiences where it's happened and you go, wow, that's really a big impact on me?
Well, I think in this context, the first thing that comes to mind is my high school music teacher. I had those experiences in high school that I set out to find for my own kids, and hope to keep offering. We were talking in class today. We had the Golden Harmony group today, and what were they? Oh gosh, I just forgot what they were saying. But they're introduced to music that they've never heard before. They found it exciting to hear me talk about how I used to go to music class every day. And they're like, every day? You had music every day? I said, yeah, that's everybody back then, way back in the old days. We were all learning to read music. We were all learning to sing in harmony. They were shocked at that. Absolutely shocked. Where was I? What question was I answering?
Actually, the
I'm
question
just
was
down a
something
rabbit
that happened
trail.
to you that made a person
Yes,
or
my
thing.
high school music teacher. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yes,
And
because
Tommy, I happen to remember, which is pretty amazing.
Thank you for. I should have written it down. This is me all the time. That experience, though, that experience of going to music every day, getting up early in the morning to rehearse, and the passion that she brought out of us, it made all the difference in the world. I decided then I wanted to teach music. I didn't know it would look like this.
So, and then now you've given it to another generation.
I hope.
When you said, hey, I used to study music, I would do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the student said, every day? So some little kid out there who's probably 25 now going, let me tell you about this Debbie lady back when, over there. She would do it every day, and I'm doing that. All right? So congratulations on that. Okay. So Emily, you're up.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I'm sitting next to her. Does that count? Is that my answer?
Oh, that's
Something
too easy.
A mentor, a teacher, or some event that really significant that you can specifically recall that.
So probably not an event, because I feel like the last 20 years have been a great event. But no, absolutely. It's Debbie. She would definitely be my teacher and mentor. She was my piano teacher. She was my director. She is definitely my mentor, and she cringes whenever I say that. But it's true. It's what it is.
Under the table. You did quit piano lessons.
I did, but I was young and I thought I knew everything.
So when I was in school, I want to share this with you. I was struggling in the English class, and the professor says, "What's the problem?" I said, "I don't know. I just can't figure it out." She's come to the special class. So we go to her office, which is as big as this table total, 2 desks, hers and where's the class? She said, "This is the class." She said, "What's the problem, Michael?" I'm 20. I said, "Every time I start, I get frustrated and I rip the paper out of the typewriter." And she said, "Well, what in the future, when it happens, just stop and then start again." So here it is a while later, a few decades later. That's just the way it is. So here it is, a teacher, happened to be by me date. I've been thinking a lot about her. I forgot her name, but I'm going to try and find her. She might still be alive. So it was so significant for me that I've shared that with everybody that I can. And along that line, there's David Singer. He's going to be on next. I was 20 years old, graduated from college. My father says, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life." And this goes along, by the way, with what the teacher said to me. And he says to me, "Why don't you do whatever you want to do and do as good as you can, as well as you can at it. And then if you don't, and then don't do it anymore when you're done and go do something else." That is now in a bronze plaque, which is do it until you don't want to do it anymore and then go do something else. So there's some student out there, whether they're 4 years old or 80, that are watching you every day when you're out there in the teaching, that have learned something from you that we hope that takes with them. So what would a student say about you?
Oh, probably that I'm crazy. I make a lot of noises, very loud. But I've had a few people tell me within like the last month that that they either want to grow up like me or to be like me when they get older. I told them to aim a little higher, but I was flattered.
And Debbie, what do they say?
About Emily, the same thing. I don't know what they say about me. You know, sometimes parents will contact me or former students, and they're appreciative of the, again, they're not going into Broadway and movie stars. I mean, a few of them are pursuing something in performing arts, but it's usually more along the line of more the character development or just in general life skills that they appreciate.
And the name you have, Talent Unleashed, that's sort of part of this. You've got it, man. Let it be open, right?
Well, that's the thing, like the example with the sign language. I mean, this kind of thing happens all the time. We're trying to have an environment where everyone has something to offer, everyone has something to learn. And if somebody comes up with an idea, it's like, try it. This is why, the Vessels of Gold, the kids pick the theme, the kids write the scripts, the kids come up with song ideas. We screen everything, a lot of times like, that's a very interesting idea. No, but
And when people that are creative, whether it's an artist, whether it's a writer, a musician, a dancer, a singer, that's things that we need to share and be able to let them do that, because when we are each creative, that we can show the world that it's okay for them to be creative. And sometimes people just need permission. So I hope you give your students permission.
Absolutely.
And Mom over here, you give the world permission. And let me ask you, so Talent Unleashed can be found all over the internet. They can go there and take a look at it. You have a Facebook page.
We have about 10 Facebook pages for every performing group, and Talents Unleashed has a Facebook page. That's a good way to start.
Instagram.
And they can
YouTube,
contact you.
Google.
Moms and dads can give you a holler. They can see what you're doing. And in a couple months, you probably have some celebratory meetings, and that will be wonderful. And congratulations for making a difference.
Thank you.
And folks, before we do this, all right. Well, what I want you to do is, which camera should Emily, right in there? I want you to talk to some young person about their future.
Oh, goodness. Do it even if you're scared. It's so rewarding.
Wow. Okay.
I like that. I don't think I can top that.
Right.
Try it.
Right.
And open your minds. We also want to build good audiences. I think appreciate everything that everyone has to offer, and enjoy the process.
It's terrific. So we wish you lots of good health and good fortune in 2021, which is going to be a whole lot better. All right. So again, we want to thank Emily Nelson and Debbie Arce-Carr from Talent Unleashed, which you can find all over the internet. Thank you very much, ladies, for being here. Continued success. And again, Tommy, thank you. Folks, thank you for joining us. Again, this is Live with Miami Community News. Have a great day.